7 years into the marriage, it didn't come out of nowhere. It almost never does. Let's call them James and Maria. Year 1 to 2. They're newly married, idealistic, Catholic, talking about big families and homeschooling. He's working hard, she's glowing and hopeful. They argue sometimes, but they make up quickly and they have fun. Year 3 to 4. 2 kids in, money's tight. He keeps saying, once this new business takes off, but it never really does. She's home with toddlers, sleep deprived, carrying 95% of the childcare, cooking, cleaning, scheduling, worrying. He tells himself, I'm providing. I'm exhausted. I don't have anything left in the tank when I get home. She tells herself, he's tired. This is just a season. If I just push harder, things will calm down. She stops asking for help because every ask turns into a debate. She stops asking for date nights because we can't afford it anyway. She stops asking for affection because rejection hurts more than silence. He stops trying to plan anything because she always has a better idea. He stops really listening because he already feels like he's failing. He escapes into his phone, work, or researching opportunities late at night. Year 5 to 6. They now speak mostly about logistics, money, kids, schedules, problems. She does everything right. Reads the Catholic marriage books, goes to confession, tries to be more respectful, does more, better meals, tighter budgets, more discipline with the kids. But deep down, she doesn't feel chosen. She doesn't feel protected. She doesn't feel like a wife. She feels just like a worker. So her libido tanks, not because she's frigid, but because her nervous system is fried and her heart is sore. He feels rejected sexually and disrespected emotionally. He thinks nothing I do is good enough. She's always tense. She thinks nothing I say ever lands. I'm completely alone in this. And they have the same arguments on loop. You never initiate anything romantic. You never appreciate how hard I work. You're always stressed about money. You just shut down when I bring things up. No real repair, just cooling off and carrying on. And then the 7-year mark. She's 3 months postpartum again. He's trying another business pivot. She's on the edge of collapse, sleep deprivation, mental load, zero margin. Enter someone else. Not a movie star seducer, not a planned betrayal, just a man who actually looks her in the eye, listens without being defensive, and says, that sounds really hard. You're doing so much. And makes her feel interesting again, not just useful. So it might be a co-worker, a neighbor, a dad from the homeschool group, or a guy at the gym. It's always the same. He offers attention without responsibility. He offers validation without history. And he offers admiration without knowing her flaws. And she feels a hit of warmth she hasn't felt in years. She tells herself at first, I'm just being friendly. I'd never cheat. I just need someone to talk to. It's not a big deal. Meanwhile, at home, small things keep cutting. He still doesn't plan anything together. He still shuts down when she brings up money or exhaustion. He still doesn't really see the daily heroism it takes to keep the family afloat. Not because he's a monster, because he's scared, ashamed, and stuck in his own failure. But her body doesn't pass all that. It just feels unsafe and unseen. So she shares a little more with the other man. She laughs a little more with him than with her husband. She starts dressing a bit more nicely on the days she knows she'll see him. She deletes 1 or 2 messages just to avoid drama. The line isn't crossed in one jump. It's crossed in 100 small self-betrayals. I won't tell my husband about this message. I won't tell myself how much this means to me. I won't tell my priest how far my heart has wandered. And then one day, something happens. A late night call, an innocent meetup that wasn't, a physical line crossed. Now guilt crashes in, but so does rage at the marriage. If he'd just listened, if he'd just stepped up, I would never have been vulnerable to this. So that story is emotionally understandable, but the sin is still real. Affairs are not justified by neglect, but they are made far more likely by certain conditions. One, chronic emotional neglect and zero curiosity about her inner world. Two, no repair after conflict, only cooling off. Three, years of mental load and invisible labor with little gratitude. Four, no romance or pursuit. She feels like furniture, not a bride. Five, unconfessed resentment and bitterness on both sides. Six, no wise support, like a good priest, a good counselor, solid friends. Seven, easy access to emotionally intense opposite sex relationships. Now, most wives in these situations do not want another man in any deep sense. They want to feel chosen again, to feel like someone delights in them. They want to feel safe enough to relax and to feel more than a maid or a co parent. An affair is a gravely sinful, destructive shortcut to these desires. But you cannot fix affairs by only shaming the shortcut. You also have to repair the road that should have led to safety inside the marriage. So, here are the lessons for husbands and wives. Affairs usually grow out of years of small neglect, not one bad week. If you're 5 to 10 years in with young kids and constant stress, you are in the danger window. Take that seriously. So, wives, your pain is real. Your unmet needs are real. But crossing the line with someone else will not heal that wound. It will deepen it and damage your soul. Take the ache to God, a good priest, and then your husband, clearly and firmly. Husbands, you can't buy affair proofing with theology takes and headship talk while staying emotionally checked out, sexually entitled, or financially unreliable. Her nervous system knows if she's safe with you or not. Now, both of you prioritize date nights, reduce her mental load and exhaustion, have the hard conversations before resentment hardens, and set ruthless boundaries with opposite sex emotional intimacy. Confess your own sins, not just your spouse's defects. Now, no one is above this. The point isn't to live in fear, but in truth. You protect your marriage not by insisting, I'd never, but by building a life where both of you feel seen, respected, and safe enough that an affair looks boring compared to what you already have. And if any part of this story feels uncomfortably familiar, that's not a sign to panic. It's a sign God is flashing a warning light now so you don't end up living the full disaster later.